What up, everybody? Yo, yo, yo.
Jesse Simpson. How are you today?
Ben, you closing?
Okay,
Ben Castle.
I think I accidentally muted Ben. Sorry,
I
Ben.
got one. I got one yesterday.
Let's go, my brother. Let's go. You back in Canada?
No, I'm with Chris Diaz in Fort Lauderdale right now. Going back in a
Let's
couple
go.
days.
My guy. My guy. I'll just see it. All right, people are piling in here. We'll give it about 30 seconds for everybody to hop in, and then we will get rolling.
I just want to know who iPhone 417 is and why they have 417 options. Like, why is that the 417th phone?
They're on their 400.
I'm currently hiding my identity, which is should be good as long as my name isn't anywhere. So I'm gonna just keep my name off of it if that's okay.
Okay, that's
Yes, ma'am.
fine.
My apologies.
You're good.
Who said that?
iPhone 417. Thou who shall not be named.
Oh, okay. I get it now. All right, let's go. Cool. All right. Well, let's I don't even want to go over numbers. I just want to get into this. So, guys, this is week 2 of a series we're doing on recruiting, leadership development, building the business, etc. So, I'm really excited for our guest we have on today. We got my boy JP. How we doing, brother?
Good, good. Thanks for having me, Jonah.
Bro, not a lot of our group knows who you are. I would say about half the people. So if you could, you just introduce yourself, how long you've been with Pinnacle, how long you've been in insurance, and what you were doing before this.
Yeah, I made the switch with Pinnacle, when we started the company. I've been doing insurance for 2.5 years now. I was doing door to door with Chris Malad, Ben, a lot of those guys, for a few years. And yeah, it was great. Made a lot of money, but I think we all got to that point feeling like we were, hitting the ceiling, top 1% over there. It was great money, but you get to that point where you start looking, you realize what you're capable of and start looking at what else is out there. So yeah, did a lot of research and explored a ton of different options and, ended up here. So.
Definitely, definitely. And one cool thing that not a lot of people know about you, JP, was you were making good money not only in pest control, but you were also you've built a few businesses in the past. Share about that.
Yeah, had a Pilates franchise that was super successful on the East Coast. Some distribution businesses I was in over there as well. Yeah, door to door was successful. I've done plenty of real estate deals and flips, rentals, you name it. But even with all of that, yeah, I've been in the business world since the day that I graduated college. Wouldn't have it any other way, but it gives you more appreciation for this industry, the vehicle that we have. It's genuinely unmatched. So,
Absolutely. And JP, talk to it because I knew day one when you came in and the first time I met you, I was like, oh, this guy's a dog. He's gonna build something big. And so talk to us about what was your mindset coming into the insurance industry, especially with your prior business experience.
yeah, it didn't go as planned, which I think that's kind of business. That's how it goes. I literally took this job because I was like, hey, I can do all the other things that I'm involved with and sell, fill in the gaps by selling remotely, my own schedule, complete control, really high commissions. Um, and obviously that opportunity, my warm network, once they started seeing what this is and what you're capable of doing in it, it just naturally, played out. People started getting interested and tagging along. So
Yeah, yeah. And last month you guys did 750.
yeah,
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So 750, you're the biggest group within Flow State. You guys are absolutely exploding. Is your goal to hit a milli before the end of the year?
yeah, would love to. That's a major milestone. I'm not a big like goals guy. I think we just kind of do what we got to do and the numbers will be there. They show up. But yeah, a million is one of those big benchmarks that I'm excited for. I'll have a little bit of accomplishment with that.
Yeah. Yeah. You got anything special planned? You gonna buy a car or do anything dope? Take a vacation? Anything cool to reward yourself?
No, nothing planned right now, but maybe we'll have a like an office party or something,
Yeah.
celebrate in some way.
Cake and candles.
Yeah.
That'd be good. I'll send you guys something. But I love it, bro. But let me ask you this: when you were coming into this, would you kind of like, hey, there's this insurance thing going on, jump in and I'll kind of see where it takes me and we'll see where this thing lands? Or was it like, hey, I'm coming in, I'm looking to grow a business. I want to get the team eventually to the point where we're doing $500,000, $1 million a month. Was that laid out, or is it kind of just like, hey, we'll see where things land?
No, it really, I was not thinking about team building whatsoever when I started. And the more I got to know, the more like the realer it became. That's when I was like, oh, it would be almost selfish to not like all these guys that are knocking doors and all these people who are working 9 to 5s, dead end jobs, unhappy with themselves. Like it would be unfair to not share the opportunity and to not give people this vehicle that you can work just as hard as you do at your 9 to 5 in this and make double, triple. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. When did you really start? Not only when did you start hiring, number one, but number two, when did things really start to take off for your group? And you're like, all right, we got something going, we got some traction, we got some momentum.
yeah, I think the biggest like thing that stands out was us getting an office. It was like myself and Lucas who had sold a policy when we got into that first office. So there was no proof of concept outside of just us. And yeah, that's when it got real. It was like, hey, it's go time, make or break. We got, a dozen guys depending on us. We have an office now. Like we have to make this work. So yeah, I think we put the pressure on ourselves by really like that's going all in. Hey, we have an office and there's no production yet. We have to figure this out. So it added pressure to us as leaders, making sure that everybody who was putting their faith in us and in this system to make sure they were successful in it. So
Yeah, yeah. And that's the common narrative where we've seen with groups coming in. I can speak for myself especially, where we'd hire some people and then like we'd get some traction and then things would plateau and like we get some traction, but like we didn't really start exploding until we got a brick and mortar building. And a few things that are it's part of it's just when you have a physical office location, you can move with so much more confidence. Like if you're interviewing somebody, it's like, hey, come into the office for an interview. Hey, come check out the office. And having that sense of pride, that establishment where like, hey, this is a real business. Like we got a real brick and mortar building. Let's grow this thing. Flying agents in from out of town, having them come in the office and just somewhere where people come in a physical building where they can come in and work because I know a good chunk of your group's virtual. We got a good chunk of our group's virtual, and some people work from home and it's great and they love it. But not everybody's wired that way. Where you have to be a certain type of individual. Like for me, if I'm working at home more than 5, 6 days consecutively, I start to go crazy. I'm like, dude, I got to be around people. I get around the energy. It was like, I need to get out of my house. And it's like when you're at your house, it's because virtual sales work from home. It sounds sexy, and everybody wants to do that. But then you're at your house, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna go do the dishes real quick, or I'm gonna go do the laundry, or like, your girl's like wants to do something, or hey, you want to make tacos, this, that. You have a lot of distractions, but when you're in an office, like you're really able to lock in and focus, and you're able to be in that productive environment. And that's what we've noticed where any guys that we've hired where they've moved to us, they're coming into the office and we've hired local, whatever it may be, but they're plugging into the office on a daily basis. Their production is doubled, if not tripled.
yeah, yeah, complete game changer. And I think it's the best way to instill belief when you have a new person who's curious about this business, thinking about getting into it. Have them come into the office one day, they sit next to somebody and listen to them close a 45-minute deal and make $1,000 on it. Like, what more do you need, And I think we had a lot of guys early on that they didn't understand the team building, they didn't understand leadership yet, but they were curious. My response was always have them come into the office, have them watch Ben Bania throw up 3 deals by noon and ring the bell and everybody gets excited. Like that was our starting point. Just get people into the office. They're going to see, oh, this is real and they're going to want in. So
Absolutely. And it's one of those things where all this business is ultimately stems down to mindset and belief level. And if somebody's, especially if they're new to sales, we all have hard days on the phones. We all get shit on. And it's like if you're in your bedroom by yourself and like you're getting told no, F off, you start getting your head, you're like, is this really for me? Can I do this? But like you're in the office and you're having a bad day. But like you said, Ben Bayan just threw up 3 deals before noon, or Johnny just closed a 5K deal, or whatever it may be. Like we've got 2 agents in the office where they're already at 20K, like a day, 2 days in. And so when you can see that and you can sit right beside somebody and you're hearing them close in live time, it's like you can't deny that. The belief level is through the roof. And so are
Yeah,
you
I also real quick on that, I think it just as powerful. You see all these guys on the leaderboards constantly, 30, 40K months, Caden Sloan, Ben. Um, of course they're going to be closing. You can listen to them close deals, pick up word tracks, but seeing how they respond when someone tells them to F off or they get hung up on like that, I think that's even more powerful because those guys are unfazed. They laugh at it for a second and then they're dialing the phone, where a lot of new agents get their whole day can get derailed from one bad interaction. So I think for new agents, just watching them respond, after sitting at home and dialing, getting your ass kicked, you come into the office and watch somebody just get their teeth kicked in, and then they're right back on the phones. They realize like, oh, that's not just me. That's just part of this job. I just have to master the mindset and figure out like how to respond and stay on track with those things.
yeah. Are you requiring agents to be in the office when you hire them? Or do you hire remote as well?
We definitely hire remote, but like you said, it's just 2, 3x the production. Even for some of the guys that like don't commit to being full time because they like to work from home. Well, they have PR months when they're in here every single day, and when they're not in here, they don't produce. And then brings up the conversation of maybe we should show up to the office every day. Is it that hard to commit? And yeah, it always plays out. If you're in the office every day and you're at the morning meeting, you're gonna sell more than if you're at home, 99% of the time. So
Yeah. Where my mindset is like, if I'm hiring a guy remote and he doesn't want to move, like I'm hiring that guy with the mindset of, all right, this dude I eventually want to help him build a team and help him recruit so he can open an office locally. And
yeah,
the way I see it is we should have an office in every state and get to that point where it's like whatever state we're in, we can plug agents in and whatever the case may be. Because it's like I've heard it's like, oh well, an office space like it's expensive or it's a lot of money. Well, it's dog, it's the ROI on an office is one of the best investments I've ever made. It's easily 200, 200, 500, 1,000x on what we invested in.
It
But
does.
let me ask you this, JP, to transition. What are some characteristics and things you look for in a rep or an agent, and what are the expectations you're setting before you hire them to make sure that they have the right mindset to become successful in this opportunity?
yeah, I think one of the main conversations we have is understanding that this isn't a sales job. This is you starting a business. So cutting back on expenses, making sacrifices early on. Like we know what can come from this job, but that's not going to come week 1 or month 1 after you learn how to sell. Like there's a lot of sacrifice. Hey, we need to cut out any expenses and those deposits that hit. We're not going to go spend them and buy new stuff and get flashy stuff. No, we're going to reinvest those into leads. Once you've put your head down for 9 months, 12 months, you understand the industry, you're consistently producing, then we can make some lifestyle changes. But yeah, that's like the biggest thing, understanding that you're starting a business day one when you start this. And if you know anything about the business world, like most businesses aren't profitable for the first 2, 3 years. In this, same thing, it's usually 2 or 3 months before you really start profiting and understanding where to invest money into your leads. But yeah, just I hate when guys want to just go deposit 10K immediately and they're going to go buy a Rolex. And then, they take a week off, couple chargebacks hits, they go to buy leads and they're out of money. Like that's the wrong mindset. So I like aspiring for those things. Like your hard work, you should be able to achieve those things. But early on, you're a day one business owner and you know nothing. So time to lock in, sacrifice, and eventually you get to that point. But yeah, just those early stages, people understanding what it takes.
Yeah. And just watching EJP over the years, that's one thing I've really respected about you is you've always prioritized the business first and you've always poured back into the business. Where same thing with me and Claudia, where that's one thing we're big on is delaying the gratification. because ultimately as your business, it's an eating, breathing, sleeping organism, and it needs constant food, attention, and nourishment. And if you're not investing it back in and looking to grow the business, then it's hard for it to grow. Like even where we're at now, in the stage we're at now, like we're blessed to be a decent sized organization, but I'm fully willing to pour it all back in and reinvest back in to get it to that next level. Because what I remember a mentor told me this, and it stuck in my mind. He said, your business is a direct reflection of your mind, and everything rises and falls on leadership. So it's a reflection of your values, your mindset, and your decision making. And you're never gonna grow a big business from a scarcity mindset. So if it's like, oh, this office space is expensive, I don't know if I can afford that. It's like, well, you probably can't afford to grow then. It's like, oh, I don't want to help this agent out with leads, or I don't want to invest in this lock-in or this Airbnb for my guys or whatever it is. It's like you're growing a business, dog, and it requires a lot. And I've looked into every investment out there, whether it's crypto, stocks, whatever it may be, and I've ran the numbers and I've continually found time and time again, it's like, dude, the best ROI that you can invest in is back in yourself and back into your business. And so let me ask you this, JP, for the people watching this right now, where they're looking for their key 5, 10, 15 players to get up to that 100, 150,000, $200,000 a month and that initial base range. Like, what are some things besides an office, some other tangible things they should be looking to invest in to grow their sales organization?
Yeah, being picky with where you invest your time, who you invest your time into. I know early on it can be easy to, I guess you could say, be desperate of like, hey, I just have to get people in here. And then before you know it, you're babysitting, you're texting people 3 days in a row. Hey, where you at? You're not on the Discord. Hey, you coming into the office? Like those aren't the people that are going to grow your business. You need to be very picky. I'm a big quality over quantity guy. I'd rather have 5 absolute dogs than 50 people that I have to, that I want them to be successful more than they want to be successful themselves. Because when you have a good foundation like that, that's what's going to grow a business. People that are like-minded, they have the same vision, the same goals, and pour everything into them rather than giving 50 different people who are half in, half out and giving them all a little bit, because you only have so much time, bandwidth, energy. So be picky early on and don't get discouraged. Like it takes time to find those people. They're not common. Like we get so used to the people that we're around and the mindsets and the people that we interact with in this business, in this industry. Like it is elite. Like it's not common. And those are the people that you're trying to find out there. Yeah, we get spoiled with like the flexibility and freedom that we have. Like half my guys are 22 years old, under 25 years old. Like none of their friends have the freedom and flexibility that we have. So we get spoiled thinking that everybody has those mindsets, everybody has opportunities like we have. So yeah, just be picky in finding those people who really want to grow and better themselves. Like they should be coming to you asking, hey, do you have any trainings for me? Do you have any scripts that I could run this lead? Picking your brain, not the people that you have to babysit and go get them to work. Like that's got to be the focus. And yeah, like I said, early on, it's tough because there's almost that desperation of like, I have to find people. I have to make this work. I have to grow this. Well, remember, this is a long-term business that you're playing into here. And if you want to build something good, you have to be picky and very particular who you grow it with.
That's so good, man. I was just having a conversation with Felix last night about that, where shout out to Felix. He's the man, but he was telling me, he's like, dude, I love people, and like I got to be more protective of my time because I'm like I feel like I'm getting pulled in a million directions and everybody wants my time, and it's easy to do, and I've fallen into that trap too, especially early on. And I've shared this before where I would look at somebody, 19, 20-year-old kid, whatever it may be, and I'm like, dude, I was that person. I was you, bro. And like I see it. I'm like, if you lock in and you grind it out, like, dude, you can get to where I'm at, and I want you to get there, and I love you. But the thing I have to constantly remind myself time and time again is you can never want it more for somebody than they want it for themselves. So that's really good. And I want to dig deeper into that. What are the specific characteristics that you look for? And it's easy to say, oh, it's be picky or this or that, but like, what are the specific tangible characteristics that if people are taking notes, they can write down to look for somebody and figure out who those key players are and if somebody's a good fit or not?
Yeah, I mean, being very straight up early on, the commitments, like laying out commitments. If you say, hey, can you show up to the office for a 9 a.m. meeting Monday through Saturday and dial from 9 a.m. until 7 p.m. for the next 6 months, whether it's good, bad, whether you're selling 40K or 4K, and have the same mindset, be deliberate every day, you know, be able to spend $500 to $1,000 a week and not think twice about it, whether you're getting a 2X or a 10X. Like those things, I think you kind of take their response. I had a conversation this morning about someone with a new agent that said, he was trying to talk him out of doing this because he texted him yesterday and said, "Oh, I slept until noon, my bad." And the guy texted him and was like, "Hey, I don't think this is for you," basically, long story short. And he said, "Are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you can commit to this?" And his response was, "I think I can commit to this." Like, that should be all you need to know when I'm saying, like, be picky. The response should be, "Hey, I messed up. I know I'm going to do this. I can do this. Like, I can commit." You like be real with people, lay out commitments and see how they respond to it. If you feel like they're half in, half out, don't waste your time. Like, get very real and say, "Hey, I need you to either say yes or no, commit to this, or this doesn't make sense. Let me know when the timing works better for you." And maybe in 6 months, they'll go get a job, realize how shitty the real world can be, and then appreciate what this is. But no, I think laying out commitments with people early on and explaining it's not all sunshine and rainbows, and then seeing how they respond, if they're ready to step up to that or if they're going to shy away from it. So I think that's a big one. Um, yeah, just commitments and expectations, laying that out for people and seeing how they respond.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I look for ultimately, and you can write this down if you're taking notes, is I look for grit. Like, what is your hunger and what is your grit in someone? And because when I came into this, I was starving. And so you didn't, it's what you can't do, you can never motivate people. Like, yes, I've had hundreds of conversations. I know you have too, of like certain people where like they're having a bad day and you need to breathe life back into them. That's different than like having to motivate somebody on a daily basis to like get up and go to work. So it's easy for somebody to be fired up and look good and be excited about the business when they're having a good day and when they're closing. But really what I look for is what is your mindset and how do you act on a bad day? What are your thought process? What's your energy like? Where is your mind at? What are your thoughts when you're just getting shit on? Because if I can see somebody where like he's got a bad day, but he continues to show up, put in the inputs, stay level, I'm like, oh, this guy's a dog. Like, this guy's gonna make it. And so that's what like really shows you the character of somebody, is not on the good days, but on the days where they're facing adversity and they're going through those challenging times, especially early on in the business.
Yeah, I ask that in interviews pretty often when it's someone that I'm unsure about, or we don't know who they are, they're not a warm network recruit. Yeah, what's your mindset when you're 2 weeks in, you don't have a deal up, you're $1,000 out on leads? How are you showing up week 3 on Monday? You think you can show up and have the same attitude you had day 1 starting, or do you think that you would be a little bit discouraged? Like, how are you going to react to that? That's
Yeah,
something. If it's just a cold recruit, I'm asking that question straight up, and yeah, just kind of see how they react to that.
yeah. Because I had another manager here in Pinnacle text me a few minutes ago while we were on this call, and he said he asked me if I could hop on for spend an hour with his leaders and pour into them and just touch on hiring, how to bring people in, but specifically how to deal with losing people, because he said I think some of my leaders are scared to recruit because of that. And so what would you say to that, of like, how do you deal with people leaving the business?
I mean, it's going to happen. I would say it's similar to the sales mindset. Like, you have to control what you can control. Like, my perspective, my mindset as a leader is like, I need to do everything that I can to make sure that you're set up to succeed. You have to hold up your end of the deal, obviously, with showing up. But if I do everything I can and you show up every day and do everything you can, it's going to work out majority of the time. And if it doesn't, just wasn't meant to be. Like, you can't get caught up on that. It's going to happen. You're not going to have 100% retention rate with agents, you know. But yeah, don't ever let that discourage you. Like you said, scarcity mindset. Like, if you're sitting there worrying about losing agents, your head's in the wrong spot. Do everything you can do to make sure they're taken care of and they're set up for success. And while they're killing it and crushing it while they're here, recruit more agents. Like, continue building. Because if you have 80 agents and, you know, 2 of them it just doesn't line up with what they want in life, or if 10 of them it doesn't line up with what they want in life and they're gone, you're not even going to feel that. Where if you have 10 agents and 3 of them leave, you're gonna notice that. You're gonna feel that. So, like, having that abundance mindset of just, I'm gonna continue building, and yeah, we're gonna weed out the weak, we're gonna weed out the cancers, but the ones who stay are, it's just gonna strengthen our core, and we're gonna build more. Like I said, I'd rather have 5 dogs to build with than 50 people who are half in, half out. So yeah, don't go to scarcity mindset on team building. You're never going to keep every single rep. There's always going to be weird circumstances where it doesn't line up for them anymore. It just doesn't work out. Yeah, if you're controlling what you can control, you're showing up for them every day, you're making sure they're equipped with what they need, then it's going to play out. They're going to be successful more times than not. So
Yeah. Well, here's the way I see it. That's like being afraid to sell a policy. That's like not wanting to sell policies because you're afraid they're going to charge back.
exactly.
And the way I see it is I don't want to keep everybody either. Where, to be frank, it's hard for me to have sympathy at this point with agents because we have so many, like, the systems, the training, the structure, the support, the help. I mean, the way we have, like, there's always 3, 4, 5 managers that are available at all times if agents need help, agents have questions. Like, I mean, I tell people, like, my phone, this isn't corporate. So call me as long as you're showing up and doing everything you need to do. Call me at 5 in the morning, 10 o'clock at night. I'm going to answer. I got your back. As long as you're showing up on your end and you're putting in inputs and you're working hard. Like, I'll go broke before I let one of those agents fail. But what we've noticed too is, I've shared this before, but I'll share it again because it's important. One of the biggest mistakes we've made as an organization is letting people stay that weren't the right fit, because culture is so important, and it's just negativity. It's infectious and it can spread like a cancer. And so what we, like, every time we've cut people out, and we just did this recently, but every time we've cut people out of the business that aren't showing up, aren't putting in the inputs, have a negative mindset, whatever else, what we've noticed is everybody explodes and the rest of the organization flourishes because of that. And so it's one of those things where you said it a few minutes ago, and I don't want to touch on that because it's good. It's like, dude, I'd rather have an organization of 10 killers than 100 average people, because we're not looking to be average.
100%.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, JP, because you guys have some pretty heavy hitters on your team. So what are some expectations that you're setting with your agents to really bring out the best in them and allow them to perform on a high level and put up a lot of premium?
Yeah, I mean, I would say our group, like, we've been the main reason we've been able to grow and you know, just keep scaling is we have the support. Like, if I'm on a phone call, there's 3, 4 other people that they can go to, and they know that. So we have a lot of, like, role players where if you need underwriting, if you need accountability, if you need training, you know, we have a handful of guys, myself, Lucas, you know, Chris Malad, all that. But we also have people who are the guys who are unmuted on Discord all day. You know, I handle certain things for Ben's team, and he's on the Discord unmuted all day. So when I have a brand new agent that needs to hear someone close a deal live, I send them to Ben's Discord room. You know, like, I think that's a major, like, again, one of the major keys to us growing is, like, we all have our roles where we all are helping each other, and everybody knows that. So yeah, I think that's been super strong, because if my job is to do training, recruiting, make dials on live dials, like, if I have to do every single thing for every single agent, I'm going to fall short in areas. But if I can focus mostly on a couple of those things, you know, training, recruiting, one-on-one accountability calls, and Ben can just focus on dialing and being unmuted and helping new agents, there's strength in that. So I think that's been massive.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing that I want to touch on what was just we had a really good Chicago conference, and you brought a lot of your Michigan guys out for that Chicago conference. Great conference, by the way. If you missed it, you really missed out, but we're having another really good one here in a couple weeks here in Tampa. We even have more people registered for, so I'm excited about that. But the reason I bring that up is one thing that was cool. What I noticed was, every time one of your guys got on stage, like, dude, you guys all went crazy, and you guys were like yelling and everything else. And you guys have a really good culture. Like, you guys have a very competitive nature about it, which I love. It's a healthy competitiveness, but like, you guys go hard, but you also love each other and you have each other's back. So what are some tips that you would give to building a good culture within your organization?
Yeah, I would say finding ways to compete.
Yeah.
We're always cooking up new incentives. Whenever I feel like there's just like momentum is slowing or we're in a little rut, I cook something up. So transitioning to the new office, it was weird because we had been in the two separate offices for a long time. Everybody was like in their routines and very used to it. And then we got a bigger office and merged the two. And it was just a little bit off because we didn't have a place to work for a week, and then we had to get back on track. So came up with a good competition where we did it like a knockout. Basically, if you were late to the office or you bageled, you were eliminated. And the last 4 people standing, we did Lions tickets. So like that was one of the most recent competitions that it resparks momentum. It becomes like a game. You have to gamify it and competing. So yeah, we're doing that usually every month or 2 months. We'll come up with a good incentive and a competition. And then yeah, you wanna compete with those guys even more because of how close you are. You're boys with them. Like, you're not gonna lose to them. So I think even for smaller groups, yeah, you got 8 agents, make a bracket and have guys go head to head this week. And then the winner moves on and they play the winner of, whoever won the other matchup. So we've done a handful of those, but I think if you can gamify it and just find ways to compete, it goes a long way.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. So I'm taking mental notes too as you're saying that. So you're saying anybody that didn't show up to the office, or if they didn't get a sale for that day, then they're eliminated. And was it the last 3 agents
The
standing one?
last 4 got Lions
Last
tickets.
4.
So, and it got down to, I think there were like 6 guys that were going for almost 3 weeks. Because they're like, I'm not losing, I'm going to this game. So they were competing hard. Yeah, but it makes it fun. Those guys were excited to come in and they're like, I'm getting a deal up today. I'm not going home until I have a deal up. So where, the clock hits 7 p.m. for a normal guy and they're like, hey, I just didn't make a sale today. No, they're staying till 9 p.m., 10 p.m. They're getting a deal no matter what. So forces competition.
Yeah, and it's sales. It's anytime the energy's low, typically the production's low. And the higher your energy, the more money you're going to make. So higher energy, there's a direct correlation with higher energy people and income. So this call, whether it's a team or just ourselves individually, that's what I've had to remind myself as a leader, where, I'll come to the office and I'll be dog shit tired, but it's like, I don't have an option as a leader. Like, I'll still yell, dap people up, hype up, like doing different incentives. I love that. We're huge in this office on incentives. Like, we're doing the monthly incentive for F1 for the top 3 producers. We're going to F1 in Vegas. I'm really excited for that. So yeah, we're always like in our manager meetings, we're always thinking, strategizing, coming up with new and creative ways to just create that healthy competition, because that's important. What are some other fun incentives that you guys have done?
We've done like a March Madness bracket, like I was saying. You go 1-on-1 for the week, winner advances until you have the final 2, and then winner of that, we've done a ton of them where you get into teams. We do a draft, break off in groups of 4 or 5, and then go compete for the month. And then we've done, similar to the F1, top 4 riders this month get tickets to something cool or some event. But yeah.
Love it. Ethan asked, what are some things you're doing to get more hires?
Yeah, I would say we're big on warm network. Just naturally with the, like I said, most of my team is 25 years or younger. And, you know, when they see these guys traveling all the time and making a lot of money and living good lifestyles, if you're just posting other people's wins, I think it goes a long way. So, um, yeah, I mean, I think Pinnacle gives us a lot of content. They always have good stuff they're posting when new agents are popping off or people have a PR month. You know, it doesn't have to be like in your face selfie of, oh, I just made 10K this week, but posting other people's wins, I think is it's unoffensive and it does plant seeds because recruiting isn't always a one call close. You know, somebody's going to watch your story for maybe 6 months, a year, and then, you know, they feel like they're stuck in their job and the timing is right. Well, they're going to be curious. They're going to reach out at that point. But yeah, understanding the long game in recruiting and warm network is super powerful. Yeah, when you have somebody who is warm network, they know you, you're credible, they trust you, and they've seen you winning for a long enough amount of time. When the timing's right in their life and they come to you, like it's that much more powerful when they come to you rather than you sending a cold DM. Hey, there's definitely recruits out there that you can get from that. But it's just a lot stronger of a bond and they already have the trust if they're reaching out to you. So
Definitely, definitely. And another thing I've noticed you guys do a good job at as well is your lock-ins get pretty hype. So share about the importance of lock-ins and some things specifically, not only the importance, but specific things you guys have implemented to drive production and have better energy at the lock-ins.
yeah, the lock-ins have been crazy. And what's wild is like every time we have a lock-in, everybody PRs. As a group, we PR, individually, we PR. And then we're like, oh man, that's the top. We're not going to beat that. And then a few months go by, we get to the next lock-in and we shatter what we did the last time. Like it used to, when I remember when I started, somebody would come in and have a 10K week at a lock-in and we're like, damn, that guy threw down. That girl threw down. Like they crushed it. And if you don't do like 20K now, it was a bad week basically, which is wild to think about. You know, we had multiple people do 40K at the last few lock-ins here in a week, which is nuts. So I think again, back to competitions. The biggest thing we've done is splitting up into two groups and whoever sells the most in the week gets to throw water balloons at the losing team. And everybody goes crazy for that because nobody wants to sit there after grinding 12 hours a day for a week and then just get pelted with water balloons. So that's been like the ultimate motivator, honestly. And it's like it's still fun. It's not that harsh. Yeah, you get hit with water balloons, that sucks, but being able to like throw water balloons at your boys or you know, it's a good motivator. So that's been like the main competition we've run with that. And that's been more motivating, I would say, than winning $1,000 of leads or a MacBook or a trip somewhere. Like people want to throw water balloons at the losers. They want to be the winners. So
I love that. I love that. You were telling me about the last lock-in where you're like, we split up into two groups. We had two different houses, and they were going like these guys were going till midnight. They're like, we are not effing losing against.
literally, yeah, they were running Hawaii leads till 1 a.m. all week. Like it's crazy.
I love that. I love that. Well, what are some I'll ask you more of a general question. Just what are some like some I would say some things that you've learned as you've progressed in your leadership development and different things you've implemented in the business, specifically yourself as a leader, or maybe even some mistakes you've made or different things you've had to tweak and adjust to get agents going faster and have better success with your team.
Yeah, I would say I remember sitting down right after or right around New Year's with Chris and Malad talking about goals for the year and you know where we can improve and things to focus on. And like looking back, the one thing that I remember from the call that sticks out to me was focusing on developing more leaders because we were doing probably like 250K at the time. And I was like, dude, I'm on the phone till 10 p.m. every night. Like I don't have more time in the day. I don't know how we're going to scale this thing. And the conclusion we came to was building other leaders. He was like, you need to have your core all has to be capable of doing what you do every day. And your workload will get lighter and your production will continue to go up. So that's been my main focus this year is feeling like I don't have to do every single thing for everybody. I just have to teach others how to do the things that I do, and what's expected as a leader, and how to get agents successful. And what's crazy is when we were doing 250K, my days were more chaotic and hectic than they are now, creeping up on 1 million, which is really nice because like those people are now in the same spot that I was. Like they're on the same track, Chris and Malad were on that same track of progression. I'm following behind them. Now I have leaders that are making really, really good money. They're building their teams, their agents are winning. So getting to that level of understanding, we're always learning as leaders, we're always developing, and getting those guys into those stages of becoming leaders who can create other leaders. That's the name of the game. So that's the only way to scale, really.
Yeah, that's well said. Where leadership development is really one of the highest leverage activities you can do in this business and is fundamental in order to be able to scale. And if you guys are taking notes, I would write this down because for the longest, like my vision for 2 years was like we need to get to $1 million a month, and that was my all-encompassing focus. And I had on my vision board, and like we'd progress, then we go back when we progress, and like went up and down. It took us a while, but what I had on there is I remember Joe. I was talking with Joe about it, and he broke down the numbers, and it made so much sense. So I wrote this down. I had it on my vision board, where all it is 5 leaders doing 200K a month. Like you always hear about find your starting 5. Like if you can just have 5 leaders doing $200,000 a month, you're at $1 million. Or if you have 10 leaders doing 100K, you're right there. And so when I broke down the numbers, I was like, man, that makes a lot of sense. So I was like, okay, well, what are the numbers I need to do to get there? And what I found was I knew if I could run 20 hiring calls a week, out of those 20 hiring calls, I would hire about 10 people. And then I found that out of those 10 people I hired, anywhere between 5 to 8 of them would stick and get licensed. So it's like if I could just, it's same thing as running business. Like if I could just, when I was running business, my days were stacked with appointments and clients. So it's like, all right, well, I'm looking to grow the business, so I'm just going to stack my calendar with hiring calls and hire enough people where we can get to that point. And that's exactly what we did. So when it seems like, oh, like $1 million a month, like that's such a daunting number, and it scares a lot of people on this call. But I genuinely believe is like when you break down the numbers and look at that, and you focus on leadership development and realizing that, hey, I'm only one person. It's not a lot on me, but if I pour into other people and enable them and breathe life into them to build their businesses, that's how we all grow and scale together.
Yeah, 100%.
So I love it. Guys, drop an emoji in the chat if you took value from this. This is a great call. It's a fire call. Anyway, we're going on 45 minutes here. We'll open it up. If anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat or unmute. Don't all everybody go at once. Well, JP, I think you killed it, brother.
Cool. Well, appreciate you having me on, Jonah.
Dude, absolutely. Thank you for hopping on and pouring into the team today. Let's make it a week, everyone. God bless.